created a really big mess of Archie's birth, quite frankly, and the pregnancy as well.
The whole description she does of the Portland hospital, the birth, that was completely fabricated.
There's one of those conspiracy theories on the internet that she might not have actually carried her babies, that they may have used a surrogate.
Something's brewing behind those cold Buckingham Palace gates, and trust me, it's not the usual royal gossip. No flashy headlines, no petty feuds. This is colder, quieter, and far more serious. Insiders say senior advisors have begun digging, and all trails lead straight to Archie and Lilibet. Now, here's the thing. The Crown never does this. Questions about bloodline, they terrify them more than scandals ever could. But apparently, something didn't add up. Tiny inconsistencies that meant nothing on their own, but together, they painted a pattern so odd that palace officials couldn't ignore it. Because in the monarchy, there's one rule that overshadows everything else. The line of succession can never carry a question mark. So why now? Why touch the one subject they always pretend doesn't exist? Oh, buckle up, because what they've uncovered is something the palace wished had stayed buried. Here's where it gets really strange. Archie's birth certificate was changed months after he was born. Not a little typo, not a spelling fix, a complete name removal. Meghan's full name, Rachel Meghan Markle, vanished, poof, gone from the record. And in its place, only her royal title. Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. No first name, no surname, just the Crown-approved styling. Now, for regular families, changing a birth certificate might be nothing, fix a date, correct a letter, move on. But for the royal family, that's a big deal. Royal birth certificates are sacred, the first official document proving who the child is, where they belong, and how close they are to the throne. Every signature, every word, every stroke of ink matters. It's supposed to be clear, consistent, permanent, so when someone goes back and changes it, it sends shockwaves. Someone had to request that edit. Someone had to approve it. Someone had to log it. And there must have been a powerful reason. But guess what? No one can explain why. You'd think there'd be one official story, right? Nope. Meghan swears the palace asked for it. They wanted my personal name removed and replaced with the title, she said. But palace insiders tell the complete opposite story, that Meghan's team pushed for it themselves. Two totally conflicting tales, zero records proving either, no paperwork, no approvals, nothing that justifies the change. And when palace investigators went digging for answers, they found nothing. And that's not just sloppy, that's suspicious. The palace doesn't do messy. Every decision, every change, even a comma is documented somewhere. So when staff tried to piece together what really happened, they hit a wall. Confusion, conflicting memories, no unified version of events. And that's when the questions started rolling in. Because the moment you find holes in one royal document, you start wondering what else doesn't match? Here's what they discovered next. Harry and Meghan kept Archie's birth a secret for more than 8 hours. 8 whole hours before the world even knew he was here. Not the press, not the public, even most of the royal family had no clue. For a family built on protocol and timing, that's unheard of. Royal births are almost choreographed. There's an announcement when labor starts, then confirmation once the baby arrives, and finally the photo op on the hospital steps. It's tradition, it's rhythm. It's the monarchy's version of clockwork. But Archie's timeline? Chaos. The palace released a statement saying Meghan had just gone into labor, except she had already given birth hours earlier. The baby was already here, wrapped up somewhere in Windsor, while the world sat glued to screens, waiting for breaking news. The public felt deceived. And honestly, they were. That's not an accident, that's control. That's wording chosen to confuse. Every royal baby for generations followed the same path. William and Kate did it. Charles and Diana did it. Everyone knows the system. Public statement, doctor's signature, easel outside Buckingham Palace, photos. Congratulations, done. But with Archie, none of it happened. No easel, no doctor's statement, no official confirmation. Just silence followed by a small, carefully staged appearance in Windsor Castle days later that felt more like a photo shoot than a celebration. And then the hospital mystery. At first, reporters camped outside one hospital, convinced it was the right spot. Later, whispers said another hospital, then talk of a home birth. No one, not even senior palace aides, could confirm where Archie was born. And that's huge, Because royal births don't just happen, they're orchestrated to the minute. Normally, there are crown-approved doctors, official witnesses, signatures, everything logged and sealed. It's not about being nosy. It's about preserving the legitimacy of the royal bloodline. But when the team revisited Archie's timeline, things didn't line up. Gaps everywhere. No proof of the official process being followed. And if that wasn't enough to rattle Buckingham, what came next did. Lilibet's birth made Archie's look organized. Her arrival was announced not by Buckingham, not by any royal doctor, but by Meghan and Harry's PR team in California. No palace involvement, no British medical staff, no Church of England confirmation, just a glossy press release and some curated photos. For any Hollywood couple, that's fine. But for someone tied to the line of succession, that's explosive. Royal births are meant to be verified by the Crown, recorded immediately, authenticated by approved physicians, and entered into the archives. Lilibet's wasn't. Nothing from the palace, no calligraphy notice, no verification from church or state. Even Meghan's pregnancy timeline looked off. Sometimes she appeared heavily pregnant on camera, other times barely showing. Sure, every woman carries differently, but the photos didn't tell a consistent story. On their own, small details, but together, a pattern of confusion. Palace staff weren't trying to accuse anyone of wrongdoing, they just wanted clarity. But the deeper they looked, the foggier it became. And the silence from Buckingham? Deafening. No congratulations, no confirmation, just watching. Waiting. Then came the final straw, the christening. Now, in royal life, a christening isn't just a sweet family moment. It's sacred. It's how a royal child is officially tied to the Church of England with the monarch as its head. Every royal christening, even private ones, leaves a paper trail. Registry entries, signatures, dates. Always. But when advisors checked for Lilibet's records, nothing. No entry, no bishop confirmation. The Archbishop's office had never heard of it. There wasn't even quiet acknowledgement behind closed doors that it happened. And that's when Buckingham realized this wasn't just about one missing record. This was about eligibility. Because under royal law, written in 1917 by King George V, only children who meet 3 conditions are formally recognized: verifiable lineage, a birth conducted under royal protocol, and christening by the Church of England. Those aren't traditions. They're the rules that protect the crown from chaos. And when you look at Archie and Lilibet overseas births, unclear timelines, missing church records, too many boxes aren't ticked. So the palace went quiet and got serious. Behind closed doors, advisors, historians, and church officials gathered. They built a massive timeline, tracking everything from births to press releases. And what they found looked less like royal order and more like a puzzle missing half its pieces. Documents delayed, hospitals unverified, conflicting stories from Meghan, Harry, and insiders. Christenings announced but never logged. Piece by piece, the timeline became a map of inconsistencies, things that didn't fit the pattern of royal children. And for the monarchy, that's terrifying. Bad press fades, but doubt in the bloodline? That's poison. Because if people start wondering whether those kids are truly royal, the entire foundation of the crown starts to tremble. Inside Montecito, things are tense. Behind the Instagram smiles, Meghan and Harry know exactly what this means. When the palace starts investigating, it's never just curiosity, it's preparation for action. For Meghan, this isn't just personal, it's brand-destroying. Her entire post-royal empire, the Netflix deals, book contracts, Oprah interviews, and lifestyle brand all rest on her being the Duchess with royal children. That's the magic, the selling point, the hook. But if the palace can't verify that, if the royal children's story collapses, the whole empire crumbles. A duchess without confirmed royal heirs isn't the same story anymore. And for Harry, the pain cuts deeper. This isn't about money, it's about identity. His whole life, he's been told his bloodline defines him, that no matter how far he goes, his children will always belong to that royal thread connecting him to the throne. But now, his own family, his own institution is quietly questioning that. Insiders say he's been calling, pleading, trying to reach senior royals, desperate for clarity. But the palace? Ice cold. Once the crown starts probing lineage, emotion doesn't matter. So what happens next? Palace sources whisper there are 3 possible outcomes. First, titles frozen. No removals, no announcements, just silence. Archie and Lilibet stay where they are, but nothing moves forward. Over time, they simply fade out of royal relevance. Second, quiet reclassification. The palace redefines them as private citizens. No public notice, no headlines, just a quiet downgrade in the royal records. Their names slipped down the website, out of sight, out of legacy. And third, the coldest of all, full removal. If the records can't prove the births followed royal protocol or the christenings meet the rules, the crown can legally strip the recognition entirely. No anger, no revenge, just the system protecting itself. Because that's what the monarchy always does. It survives. People crumble. Families fracture. But the crown endures pure, polished, untouched. Meghan and Harry thought they could take that royal glow to California, use it to build their new life, turn monarchy into brand power. But what they may have forgotten is this. The palace holds the pen that writes history. One decision, one signature, and everything they've built could vanish overnight. Whatever happens now will unfold quietly, far from cameras and statements. The decision might already be made, or it might be days away, but it's coming. And when it does, it will change the Sussex story forever. Because in the end, the crown doesn't care about your feelings, your love, or your version of the truth. The crown only cares about the crown. But here's the chilling part. No one outside those palace walls truly understands once the crown begins its quiet review, it doesn't stop halfway. They don't do wait and see. When the monarchy senses uncertainty, it moves like a shadow, silently, precisely, ruthlessly. Behind closed doors, aides start red flagging files. Legal teams dust off century-old protocols. Archivists cross-check every line of every royal record. It's not gossip anymore, it's verification. And inside Montecito, the tension is thick. Meghan is said to be pacing, calling lawyers, trying to figure out how much control she actually has over something that was never hers to begin with. Royal documentation. Harry, meanwhile, looks torn apart. Those walls that once protected him are now closing in. He thought he'd escape the palace, but you can't outrun bloodline questions. They follow you. Because at the end of the day, the palace doesn't deal in feelings, it deals in facts. And those facts are what might soon decide whether Archie and Lilibet's names stay glittering beneath that royal banner or quietly fade into private citizen status forever. If that happens, it won't come with a statement. No official notice, no palace spokesman explaining why, just quiet removals from websites, titles that stop being used, and invitations that never arrive again. That's the royal way, silence louder than scandal. And deep down, Meghan knows it. She built her empire on royal light, but that same light is what can burn her now. Because once the crown decides you're out of the circle, there's no getting back in. Not with fame, not with money, not even with love. When Buckingham Palace closes its gates, it's over.